So I told my subs I'm going to do a podcast and do a Q&A with you because I've been asked questions here and there and I haven't been able to answer all your questions all at once. So I'm going to do that, answer some of the burgeoning questions, but I also want to touch on the AD roast that he gave Val. Now, I talked about Val in a few videos. Me and Val have had a falling out. She's told me off like she's my mum. She's had a few words with me and we've had a falling out, and now we're not friendly anymore. We don't really speak. With that said, I do think, and is AD doing reaction videos now? It seems like he's taken a leaf out of somebody else and he's doing reaction videos. And this is a great example of why I don't plan on going on cam anytime soon, because AD made Val look like a nutcase. I'm just being honest. You're not going to be able to do that to me. Now, let's just say this in Val's defense. She's not a bunny boiler. She's not, wouldn't hurt a fly. She's completely harmless. I do agree with AD that she should find better things to do with her time. I don't know how anybody can just focus on one person on YouTube, watch them out for hours and hours and hours and hours and record what they say, repeat it on their channel. I personally couldn't do that. That would bore me to tears. I need stimulation, and I need to look at different things. I could never ever just watch one person and record them for hours and hours and hours and repeatedly upload stuff that they say on my channel every single day. That would bore me. But, AD was saying, oh, he's a bit worried about this lady and she's not well upstairs and blah, 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 blah. And people were asking me, who is Val? When I mentioned her in a few podcasts that I did. Well, this is Val, the person that AD was talking about on his channel, the person that AD roasted. She's a member of the Truth channels. She's a Ruzek supporter, if you want to call that a shiner. I hate the term shiner, but that's what people on the other side would call her. And she's a huge supporter of the R's, a huge supporter of Frankie, and she will defend them, till her last breath, it seems. It seems that she's devoted her time to defending the R family, and in doing so, her time is very much consumed with watching AD, recording AD, and talking about AD. Personally speaking, Val, I think you're better than this. And I think, yeah, you did get some subscribers and you did get some attention, and people know who you are now, because people were asking me who I was talking about when I mentioned the term Val in my previous podcast. Yeah, he did get you a few subscribers, but what are you getting out of it at the end of the day? I mean, what are you getting out of continuing to follow AD? I mean, nothing's happening. There's no court case. Nothing happens to him. I don't know what you're getting out of it. That doesn't mean to say that I didn't enjoy Val's video that she made. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed AD's reaction video. But personally, I could not consume myself with one person on any social media site, recording them for hours, and putting it on my channel and just honing in on one person. That would bore me to tears, and I think Val's much better than that. I think Val should spend her time doing something else. That's my personal opinion. And now let's get on to Q&A questions. Right. I'm going to deal with this question first and get it out of the way, because a lot of people want to know why I don't go on camera. Well, when I started my channel, I never actually planned to video myself. I still don't know how to use my laptop camera. And I planned to do podcasts. And with my podcasts, I wanted people to have an idea. I wanted people to know who I was in terms of the voice behind the channel. So I put my photographs on my podcast templates, but I never actually planned to video myself. And seeing what AD did in regard to Val, I'm so glad that I don't video myself. A lot of people don't mention the fact that Miss Mensa, and she's just one name out of a few, Miss Mensa doesn't cam up either. I've never ever seen Miss Mensa on camera, apart from the time that she accidentally had her camera on. And I think Kelly, the avocado, got an image of her. Miss Mensa doesn't go on camera, but no one cares about that, do they? Very, very interestingly enough. If you don't believe my photographs are me, that's not my problem. I'm not here to prove to you who I am. I know who I am. I know what I am. And my main objective for my channel is to voice my opinions, to put out content. I'm not here to prove to anybody that I am who I am. And Simcast is my channel name. It's not my real name. And I made a conscious decision that I would never put my full name as my channel name, because I believe that you have an online life and you have a private life. And there are things that I would rather keep to myself. I'd rather have the two lives separate. And even though I might share some personal stories with you, I have no interest whatsoever in putting myself out there and constantly trying to prove to people that I am who I am. I mean, I've never had to do that in my entire life. And if you don't believe that these photographs are me, fair enough. But I would be in a lot of trouble if I was using somebody else's photograph by now. The amount of trouble that I would be in to pretend to be somebody that I'm not would be quite substantial. So I would never pretend, I would never use somebody else's photograph and pretend that I'm them. Plus, to be honest with you, I've always liked how I look, pretty much. So, it's not like I would shy away from, photography or showing you how I am. And this is how I look. And I've always been proud to be Black. I've always been proud to be Jamaican. And this is who I am. So it's not like, there is a channel on YouTube. This guy does woodwork. He has over 1 million subscribers, and I don't know what he looks like. I only ever see his hands and his arms as he's doing, videos of putting together woodwork. I don't know what he looks like. There's no photographs of him. I only ever see his hands and his arms, and he's got over 1 million subscribers. So I don't even have to put my pictures up. I just decided that I would do it so that you have an idea, what I look like behind, the face behind the voice, so to speak. But there are some channels that you never ever see what the person looks like, and they've got some of them have over 1 million subscribers. And I think that's very clever, because then you get to keep your personal life and your private life separate from your online life. And I do agree with that. Some people merge their personal lives and their online lives. That's for them. It's not for me at the present time. Some people have tried to do videos about me, negative videos about me, to try and discredit me and to try and, throw me under the bus, and it hasn't worked. And the reason why it hasn't worked is because I'm very outspoken. And I think a lot of people can see through artificialness, if there is such a word. I'm being real with you. I'm being honest with you. So I think a lot of people can see when somebody's being genuine, or when somebody's just trying to get you, or get revenge on you or whatever. So, and also I'm a very good spokesperson for myself. Thank God that I can defend myself, and I'm here to defend myself. The other thing I want to share with you, and this is a must. Of course, I don't look. There are days when I look awful. There are days when I've just got a jumper on. I've got my hair back in a ponytail. I don't want to make out that I'm always looking polished and nice or sexy or anything like that, because there are days when I'm just not looking, especially during the lockdown. Oh God, during the lockdown, I just didn't bother with myself. If I combed my hair, That was a major deal. So, of course I don't always look put together. Of course not. I'm a human. There are times when, I might not even shave my legs for like a week. But these photographs are still me. It doesn't, it makes no difference. Of course, for a photograph, I'm going to make an effort. A question: do I wear makeup? I used to wear makeup, and because I have a slight problem with vitiligo. I don't have it as bad as Michael Jackson did, obviously. And I would hate it if my skin went ghost white. I would absolutely hate it if I turned into Michael Jackson. I love being brown. I love I love having color. But I used to have acne and it cleared up, but then I've got sometimes my skin is quite blotchy. I've got like problems with my skin, and makeup irritates it. So I tend not to wear makeup. I'm going to try and start wearing makeup again, though, because I do like makeup. It's not that I don't like makeup, but also the effort to put it on sometimes is just, I can't be bothered. So most of my photographs that you see, most of the photographs you see of me, I'm not wearing anything apart from maybe some lip gloss. So, yeah. But I would like to start wearing makeup again. And I think there might be one or two photographs that I have on my photograph templates where I might be wearing a bit of blusher. But, and I try to keep my eyebrows manicured. But I don't wear a lot of makeup simply because it irritates my skin. That's basically what I'm going to say. But I'm going to try and start wearing makeup again because I do like makeup. And I used to be big on fashion. Gianni Versace is one of my icons. I used to be big on fashion, but I'm not big on fashion anymore. But I used to be really into fashion, especially in my teenage years. Where have I traveled and one of my favorite places? I've traveled all around the world. And I would definitely say my favorite place to go to is the United States, without question. Some of my favorite places would be Miami, Los Angeles, New York. I told you about my trip to Chicago as a child. Chicago is a great city. I love the Carolinas, North and South Carolina. And I actually have relatives in Maryland, and I've been to Maryland and Washington, D.C. many, many times. I don't love Maryland, though. Don't be offended if you live in Maryland. I don't love it. There are parts of Maryland that I do like, but it wouldn't be like my number one place to live. I've been to Atlanta, Georgia. I didn't enjoy my time there. I'm sure, I know that Atlanta, Georgia has some wonderful places, but it's just not my favorite place. I didn't enjoy my time there when I went. So I've been pretty much all over the US, and I've been to Connecticut, which I found really boring. Sorry if you live in Connecticut, please don't be offended. It's a fantastic place, got wonderful houses, big mansions, but it's just not my favorite place. And I've been all over New York as well. I've been to Long Island, I've been to New York City, I've been to Brooklyn, I've been to the Bronx. I've got family in Jamaica, Queens, so I've been to the US extensively, and I would say that would be my number one place. I also love France. The south of France is probably, in Europe, the south of France and the Greek islands are like my favorite places. I went to south of France once, a few years back actually, and I took a bus from Toulon to Saint-Tropez, and the places I saw on my journey, literally, these places were so beautiful that I was rubbing my eyes, wondering if what I was seeing was real. The French Riviera, if you ever get a chance to go, it's not popular for nothing. It's an absolutely stunning part of the world. And it's kind of like being in California and Florida, but it's the European version. What's my favorite food? Another question. Chinese food is my absolute favorite food. I mean, Jamaican would have to be a second. I love roast duck the most. Peking duck, roast duck, whatever you want to call it. And I actually like it with special fried rice, not necessarily the pancake version, but I do like the pancakes as well. I love crispy shredded beef. I love wonton noodle soup and any kind of noodle soup, in fact. I love General Tso's chicken, so I like American Chinese varieties as well. When I was in America the last time, all I wanted to eat was Chinese food, and I would order General Tso's chicken from the same Chinese restaurant every night. I love Chinese food. It doesn't matter if it's Chinese food, like the real authentic one, or it's an Americanized or Europeanized version. I just love Chinese food. I love special fried rice. I love noodles. I love dumplings. I love everything. I love, pork, char siu pork. I love everything that Chinese food has to offer. And it's probably the one food that I could eat every day. What is my favorite movie? E.T. E.T. will always be my favorite film. E.T. is my absolute favorite movie of all time. In terms of cinematic, amazing brilliance, I don't think it gets better than Spielberg. That movie has a special place in my heart, and I just love it so much. It has everything going for it. It has mystery, it has drama, it has sci-fi, it has fun parts, comedic parts. It's got sad parts. Such a range of emotions I watch when I watch that movie. Such a range of emotions I feel when I watch that movie. I just think it's a classic, and there's nothing better than E.T. in my opinion. E.T. is my favorite movie of all time. Have I lived anywhere else apart from the UK? Yep, I lived in Jamaica for the first 5 years of my life. And I lived in Jamaica, and been back a few times since I moved to the UK. Apart from that, I haven't really lived anywhere else. No. What is your favorite color? That's interesting. I kind of gone through phases where blue is my favorite color, or pink is my favorite color, or black is my favorite color. I kind of go through phases with that. What's my favorite music? I like all types of music. I like an eclectic mix. I would have to say, though, if I had to choose, urban music and Latin music would be my favorite. So rap and hip hop and reggaeton and salsa music would probably, those two types of music genres would be my favorite. So rap and hip hop and Latino music like reggaeton and salsa and merengue, that's the kind of stuff I get down to. That's stuff I like. What are my hobbies? So cooking and baking, I would say at the present time, is really what I love to do. I love testing recipes, trying out new recipes, and photographing recipes, and that's what I really like to do in terms of a hobby. And I think second to that would just be eating and watching a very good TV show, or something on Netflix, or something on YouTube, or something very entertaining. I'm actually quite boring in some ways. Like, I just like to do simple things. I don't have to be doing anything majorly exciting. And I wasn't allowed to go to nightclubs and go out clubbing. When I was a teenager, my parents didn't allow me. My friends would be going off to a club, and I would have to stay home. I wasn't allowed because my parents were strict. Have you ever told lies? Of course. Especially when I was a teenager. I would lie all the time, particularly to my parents. So, for example, I would say that I was going to my friend's house when I was actually going to my boyfriend's house. Or I would say I was going to my friend's house, or I was actually going to a club because I wasn't allowed. So, and often I would get in trouble. I'd get found out. So I'd pretend I'd go to this friend's house and I was actually at my boyfriend's house. And my parents would ring that person. Where is so-and-so? Where's me? Looking for me? She's not here. And obviously I'd get into a lot of trouble. Oh, I used to tell a lot of fibs in my teenage years, particularly to my parents, because I just felt that I wasn't allowed to do anything. I think that's going to be it for the Q&A for now. I'm sure there's lots of things that people would like to know. And I probably will do another version of, another part 2 of this at some point.